It's funny to think that my forever bike is a bike that I didn't even know existed at the time. My name is Steve. Welcome to Hardtail Life. This is my 2021 Knolly Tyaughton Steel Hardtail 1-year follow-up and bike check. Let's do this. When I first started mountain biking in 2020, I picked a hardtail because they were affordable and they were simple. I actually made a video about all the benefits of a hardtail you can check out right here. So this Tyaughton can easily be my forever bike. I have strong feelings where the word forever bike means that you're good. You're found what you need, and if I had to, and someone said you have to buy another bike, I would get another frame. I get it in steel. I get the same thing so that if I somehow wreck this bike, I'm gonna set it up exactly the same way. That's what I mean when I found my forever bike. So given that this is my forever bike, why is it that I wouldn't have even considered it? Well, a couple of reasons. To my understanding, Knolly does very specialized high-end bikes for very specific purposes. So they're not made for everyone. So when I started, it made sense that I didn't even know they existed. It wasn't until a good friend of mine introduced me and said, hey, you know what? The stuff that you're riding, maybe consider this hardtail. So I did. I'm so glad I did. Another reason why I might not have considered this bike, had not known more about it, is the price. This isn't exactly a cheap or inexpensive hardtail. This is one of those hardtails that, you know, small volume, highly specialized, over-engineered. It's not gonna be a cheap bike. And if I'd started out mountain biking, I would not consider it because I would not have appreciated it. Given where I am now, with all the time spent on a entry-level trail geometry hardtail, I really appreciate the Tyaughton for what it is. It is, to me, personally, worth every dollar. And this bike is absolutely my forever bike. So that goes without saying, the Knolly Tyaughton is not for everyone. For me, I like that it's a hardtail. It's simple, it's effective, it's great for North Shore. It's enough for all my technical, janky trails. It's enough for the fast and flowy stuff. I've done some drops and small jumps on it. I'm not a huge jump person, so I mean, everything so far, the Tyaughton is amazing. And the only limiting factor of the Tyaughton right now is the rider. And you know, I'm trying to level it up, and the Tyaughton encourages me. It provides this platform where I can learn and grow, and it encourages me to do that. And I try to rise to that challenge every time I go out. What do I like about this bike? Almost everything. There's not a lot to complain about, which, you know, let's talk about the things I don't like. I kind of wish it came with a chainstay protector. Right now it has one of those electrical tape kind of things, and you know, sure, it's kind of grassroots or bare bones, but maybe a real, you know, purpose-made chain protector. I won't be mad about that. So what build did I get? Well, I started with the NX build, the lowest tier NX build. There's a few things that we swapped out. For example, I've got the GX level, the next level, the GX level fork on there, the Fox 36 instead of the Mizaki Z1. It was one of those situations where Meg, who rides the GS spec, just said, hey, take the fork, I don't need a big one. I said, you know what, that's fine, I don't, you know, it's cool, thank you so much for your generosity. I'm running it right now, but sometimes I do miss that simplicity of just that one setting instead of like all these dials and stuff. But anyway, for the NX spec, there's a lot to like. Let's see, we got stock seat, stock dropper, stock tires, replaced them a bunch of times, stock wheels, stock hubs, stock cranks, stock brakes for the time being. Pretty much, mostly, I guess. What did I change? Well, what wasn't working was the stock grips. That's a very personalized choice. I used to run the Spank grips, I think the 33s, but that lost in a fight between the garage door and itself. I'm running Chromag Squareways right now. That's working just fine. Speaking of Chromags, my pedals are the Chromag Dagas. I used to run the 1-Up composites, but they were just, I was hoping for a little more grip. I found that in race situations, in janky, chundery type trail sections, that my rear foot would often bounce off or that I would lose it. So I went to a Chromag Daga. It's a bigger, more aggressive pedal, and it's been working pretty well so far. In my very first bike, I broke the dropper remote and I replaced it with the 1-up dropper remote trigger, and I loved it so much I just carried it forward, so that's what I'm running right now. I've also put in an insert in the rear tire. There were a couple times where I burped it and I lost air and I couldn't ride out. Anyways, having the insert in the rear wheel just gave me that added peace of mind, and I haven't had any problems with it since, so it's working. A couple more little things. I have this brilliant little device called the half clip, which replaces the 5mm spacer. You put a strap around it, you put your helmet, your full face helmet or a jacket, rain pants, whatever, and that way you can have it on your bike ready to go for your service road climbs, and then you can just pop on your full face helmet when you're at the trailhead. I also have a 1-up EDC, a little tool that goes into the top of the steer tube. That was actually a birthday gift given to me by my good friend Jacqueline at Essential Cycles. Totally plug them in. If you ever have any like parts that you won't need to get, or service, or rentals, or coaching, I can't think of anyone better than Essential Cycles on North Shore. Check them out. So that's basically the setup right now. Would I change anything in the future? Well, I did say that this is my forever bike, and I actually have no intentions or inklings to want to explore other bikes, to own at least. I might try and ride other bikes, but in terms of owning, this thing is amazing. I have no intentions to change that. Now, in terms of components though, so the brakes that I'm running right now are the stock NX level brakes, which are the SRAM Guide REs. I've been told that these things are meant for people who are 100 pounds, and I'm quite a bit more than that. They said it's for kid bikes. I'm not a kid. This wasn't an issue until more recently, where I did a lot of riding all in a day. Up until now, most of my riding was within a 2.5 to 3 hour window, and I didn't really notice it that much, but over like a 5-hour, 6-hour window, and I did a lot of like more downhill gravity type things, I've noticed that my brakes were starting to go a little bit. So I am kind of looking at, currently, just kind of exploring the idea of going to the GX level spec of brakes, which is the Magura NT5. I've been told that those brakes are, in terms of value to performance ratio, are heavy hitters. So I'm excited about that. But that's about it. I mean, the great thing about this bike is that, you know, I got it as is, and I only upgraded the parts as I needed it, right? Pedals weren't working, upgraded that. You know, broke my remote dropper, replaced it with something a little bit nicer. Now that, you know, the brakes are I'm starting to find the limits or the edge of what I use it for, then upgrade it. You know, I don't have to go and get the top of the line trim and save a lot of money there. On that line of less is more, right, with the hardtail, you know, like riding only as little as you need, I am a little bit curious about riding a rigid bike. One of my friends who I ride with on a pretty regular basis now, he has this really cool bike, fully rigid, seems like he's riding the crap out of like all the stuff there. And sure, there are some limitations to riding a rigid bike, but it would be fun to try one day, I think. And that's that. If you're relatively new to mountain biking, but you love it and you want to do it all the time, then you've come to the right place. I'm eager to ride all the trails and to learn all the things, so make sure you subscribe and follow along on my mountain biking adventures. Thanks for watching, and see you in the trail.